YouTube, what's going on? So this video is gonna be another video for agency nurses. So since my last video, I've been doing a couple agency shifts, and I basically developed some different habits and stuff, and I don't know, I just got a bunch of tips for you guys. So I have 8 tips in all, and yeah, let's get into it. So my first tip, if you're an agency nurse, is to have your own blood pressure cuff. Actually, have your own equipment to take vitals, meaning get a blood pressure cuff, get a pulse ox, and get a thermometer. And then at tax time, you can write all that off. So don't worry about the cost. And anyway, it's not even that expensive, okay? So get an automatic cuff, get a manual cuff, and then pulse ox and thermometer. I would get the thermometer that you can just do on the forehead. You know what I mean? And if the facility has a better one, you can use it. But at least you have your own stuff, because you don't need to be worrying about, well, it takes time, because for example, it takes time to get vitals at other facilities when you don't know the facility, because here's an example. I had 2 blood pressure cuffs on my card at this one facility. So I put all this time to try and get my first blood pressure of the day. I put all this time into it because I was trying to troubleshoot this cuff. It kept coming up as a code, and I don't know what the code means. So then I'm like, let me just try it again. I repositioned the cuff because it didn't have an artery marker on it, but still I put the air thing right over the artery because maybe that's where it's supposed to go. So whatever, I just repositioned it and I tried it again. Then I came back and there was nothing, and I'm like, what the heck happened? So then I'm like, okay, it's my 3rd time. I'm gonna stay with the patient while it's going to see what's wrong with this cuff, because that's all I have. Like, they didn't have machines that you roll around that I saw. So I'm like, okay, that cuff was like dead, it turned out. Then the second cuff, I tried that, and that one was dead. But I tried that twice, because that one had a code too, and I didn't know what the code was. So, but then the battery icon came up, and I was like, I think these batteries are dead. So, long story short, I went through 2 machines, and both of them didn't work. Luckily, the supervisor had his own, and he let me use it. If he didn't have that, I don't know what I would have done. That would have been a whole mess. And then at the other facility, the screen was messed up, and I couldn't read the middle number on the systolic blood pressure. So I'm like, okay, I can't use this. So I had to go all the way down the hall. The nurse was on the phone, so I'm waiting for her to get off the phone, and I'm like, oh, should I just go back and come back? But then she ended up getting off the phone, so I'm like, all right, yo, I can't, this cuff is messed up, and it's too big as well. So do you have another cuff? And then she had another cuff for me to use, but that took up a lot of time. And it was just like back and forth, and it's stressful when the time's going by and you have to get a whole med pass done. So, like, if I had my own cuff, like, that would have just been amazing, because you can just grab your stuff and wipe down your cart and get report and count the narcs, and just bam, you're starting. Like, you don't have to worry about nothing. You got everything you need to be that nurse, that agency nurse, okay? So get your own equipment, okay? Second tip is you need a pencil case with plenty of pens and highlighters. Let me tell you why. Okay, we're gonna get a report, right? That's how we start off our shift. So get report. Write down everything you can. They'll tell you what's going on with the patient, and they give you a little bit more information because you're agency nurse and you don't know the patient. So they'll tell you, like, oh, this person is a total, or they can ambulate, or they're self, or, you know, they're a Hoyer lift, or they're continent or incontinent. And then they'll tell you, like, oh, this person takes their meds like this, or this person takes their meds at this time, or this person likes to take their meds late. That's what I got on the one day on report. That's what I got. They were like, this patient wants her meds last. Like, she likes to sleep late, so do her last. I'm like, okay, so I wrote that down. And then it was like, this person, she might refuse, so I wrote that down too. I wrote down everything. And then when that patient did refuse, I was so glad I wrote it down and everything, because I'm like, oh, okay, so this isn't like out of the ordinary. Like, that's good to know. But anyway, that's besides the point. So you get report and you write all that stuff down that they tell you. Like, write down everything you possibly can. Like, you're gonna need that info. And then when you're done report and the nurse left, go back through your report. Anything that has to do with ADLs, you highlight that a color. Anything meaning whether they're incontinent or continent, whether they are whole, not whole, queer, self, can they walk, you know what I mean? Do they self-propel a wheelchair? Like, all that kind of stuff. Foley's, colostomies, all that kind of stuff is, let's just pick a color, yellow. Make that a color, okay? And then write that at the bottom of your sheet. Yellow is ADLs, okay? So then all the other stuff they tell you about the med pass, make that another color. Let's say the med pass is pink. And then you can, if there's another category that you're getting in report, like IVs or whoever's got something acute going on, whether they have an infection or whether they're being monitored for a med change, you can make that another color. Okay, and then as you're going through your med pass or your shift, let's say you're doing the med pass, you zero in on that color because that's what's pertinent. If you go into a room and the patient's like, I need help, can you help me go to the bathroom? You go back to your census sheet and you zero in on, what did we say that color was? Whatever the ADL color was. And then it just makes it quick. Like, you find the name and you zero in on the color. You don't have to read through all this stuff because that's like mental energy to read through stuff. Like, you want to make it easy as possible. Okay? So have your equipment, organize your census sheet by color. And yeah, let's move on to the third tip. And is, as an agency nurse, my third tip would be to don't go into a facility and try and fix anything. There's nothing you can do. You're there to do the med pass and to take care of the patients. That's it. You're not there to fix anything. Like, don't go, unless you have like a lot of time on your hands and like you are really like done everything, then don't try and fix anything. Like, you need to get your stuff done. Make sure your documentation is on point. Make sure all your meds are done and all your wounds are done. That's what you need to be making sure of. Now, if you're a super fast nurse somehow, then that's a different story. It's not like you can't help the facility, but don't go in there trying to do it all. Like, don't do that. And then another thing is, don't point out anything that's wrong. Like, when I was doing my med pass, there was like a couple patients who had levothyroxine on the 9 a.m. med pass, and I know damn well, just like whoever wrote that order knows damn well, levothyroxine is not supposed to be done on the 9 o'clock med pass. That's supposed to be done at 6 a.m. Everybody knows that. Did I point that out? No, I'm not pointing out nothing. They had duplicate orders, or like, you know, you know, everybody got little things here and there that they can correct or whatever, but don't point that out, because even though you might be coming from a place of trying to help the facility, they're looking at it maybe like she thinks that she knows it all, and she thinks that she's criticizing us, you know, pointing out our flaws. And that is not a good thing for an agency nurse to do, and that's a bad way to start out that first impression as. That's a bad first impression, okay? So don't do that, okay? Tip number 4, try and get on wounds as fast as you possibly can, because that 9 a.m. med pass, unless you're like way better than me, is gonna take you forever, because the one shift I started out late. It was almost 9 o'clock by the time I started, so I lost so much time. They didn't know where to put me, and it was just a mess. Then I had to get my login, and it was just a mess. So I was late. The other facility, everybody and their mom was out of meds. I'm looking here and high and low for medications on every single patient. It just took like so much time to do that med pass. It was exhausting. Luckily, I love what I do, so it didn't take a toll on me, okay? So so that med pass is going to take up so much time. So by the time you're done that 9 a.m. med pass, it's time to get into that 11:30 AccuCheck, and you need to get you something to eat after that 9 a.m. med pass. You need to take some downtime. So by the time that med pass is done, you got a break. You know what I mean? It's time to get into those insulins for lunchtime. You don't have time to like put off wounds for when you're done the med pass. You're never gonna be done the med pass. You gotta get that shit done early. Like, that's one thing to ask for like, who are my sacral wounds? Because you need to get on them fast. Because, you know, the nurse coming in for 3 to 11, if you're doing 7 to 3, is not going to be wanting to do your wounds. Okay? Trust me, I know. I used to we all know this. Don't pass your work on. If it's assigned to you, you kind of got to do it. So get on them wounds quick, because I did a couple shifts and I didn't. And man, at the end of the shift, I'm scrambling and I couldn't do the sacral wounds because the patients were up already. It was a mess. I did the best I could, y'all. But get on your wounds fast. As fast as you can. So try and get that in report. So another thing, when you're an agency nurse, you need to communicate with your supervisor. Like, look, I'm behind. Like, if it hits 10:30 and I still have patients to do, I'm going to my supervisor and I'm being like, look, I have X amount of patients to do still. You know what? I still have this many patients to do. What do you want me to do? Here's the 2 responses you're going to get. 1, they'll say, that's okay. Take your time. Do what you got to do. Here's the other response you'll get. Oh, cool. No problem. I'll be right there. I'll help you. We'll knock it out. So communicate when you're behind, so you know where you stand. You might communicate at 10 o'clock. As soon as it hits 10 o'clock and you're officially too late on your med pass, you tell them, look, how do you want me to proceed? You know what I mean? And those are the 2 responses you're gonna get. Either they're gonna help you, or they're just gonna say, get it done however fast you can get it done. Because that's all they want you to do. They want you to come in, do that med pass, do your dumb wounds, and get out. I mean, and document, of course. Of course, document. Don't get it twisted now. They still want you to document, but they might help you with the documentation. So, tip number 7 is write down, as you're going through the shift, write down everything. Everything. If someone had a bowel movement and you didn't, you know they have to be documented. Write it down. If you gave somebody, and then you could pass it on a report, because a lot of times with agency, things don't get documented like they should, because things fall through the cracks in report because we don't write everything down. So I write everything. Like like I said, to be honest, maybe I saw it, but I didn't tell a CNA. And I don't plan on telling a CNA. I'm just writing it down so I can tell somebody. You know what I mean? So it'll get communicated. Write down when you give pain meds. I write down complaints. Like this one patient, the one day was like, look, on night shift, they're waking me up every 2 minutes and I need my sleep. Like, tell them to stop waking me up. This is ridiculous. Blah, blah. I said, okay, I will pass that on. Write it down. Pass it on a report. Because when you don't know the patients and it's your first time or only your second time at a facility, first time on that floor, whatever, when you're going through a report and you're just looking at the name and nothing's written, you're not going to remember that patient because you can't put a name to the face. Like, at least I can't. Like, certain patients, like, they were in my face the whole day, so I can remember them. Or I'll just remember certain ones, but the name isn't on the paper when it's time for you to give report is not necessarily going to jog your memory. So you have to write everything down, okay? And then write down all your pain meds. Yeah, I said that. Complaints. Yeah, basically write down everything. At the top of the sheet, like I wrote down, you know, blood pressure cuff needs batteries. Like, write down everything, because you're not going to remember shit when it's time to give a report. Like, you're gonna be so done. Plain blank. Anyway, let's move on. My next tip is my last tip, and it's number 8. Have plenty of pockets. Also, that's a bonus tip. But we all know that. As nurses, you need like as many pockets as possible, but have sticky tabs in your pocket. Here's what's gonna happen when you're an agency nurse. You're gonna be walking on the hallway and you're not gonna be near the cart to do it, but somebody's gonna, a CNA or a supervisor or somebody's gonna tell you, so-and-so wants pain medicine. So-and-so wants to talk to you about X, Y, and Z. So-and-so has a question about their appointment tomorrow. So if you're in the middle of something and you're walking in the hallway about to do something else and somebody comes and tells you that, if you're a staff nurse, you can remember because your mind is free. But as an agency nurse, you don't know who's who, and like it's a highly likely that you're gonna forget by the time you got back to the cart. What patient was it? What room are they at? Because you need to know where to go. It's not enough to know the patient's name. You gotta know where to go. So who it was, what's the room number, what was the concern. So write it down. And then all you have to remember is to look at your notepad. Like, you just have to remember that you wrote something down. And then when you're done doing what you're doing, you see if you can prioritize this. And then if you can't prioritize it, you take it off and you stick it on your cart, and it's there as a reminder you won't forget. Okay? Have sticky tabs. It worked for me. It was a game changer. So was the highlighting thing. That was such a great system because it's so much mental energy to go through and read all this extra stuff and look for the info. You know what I mean? So those are my tips for now. I plan to do another video because I do have a couple more tips, but this video is long enough. 20 minutes is it's not too long, I guess, but if it is too long, let me know. And if you're still watching at this point, I just want to say thank you. I hope it helped you, and leave me this emoji. I'll put it up here somewhere, and I'll also link somewhere on the screen my other agency videos. If you're thinking about doing agency or you're just starting out, those videos will help you. Okay. And that is basically it. Let me know if you have questions. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it so much. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.